I would like to start by welcoming Carol Dover to a beautiful sunny Galway in the west of Ireland. Carol, can you tell me a little bit about your background and experience?
Certainly can. So I started in the industrial engineering department in an orthopaedic company back in the 1980s. That company was acquired by DePuy in the 90s, and I moved into a research and development role at that time. And then in the late 1990s, J&J acquired DePuy, and that's when I moved into quality and compliance. I led the site from a quality and compliance point of view until being promoted into a regional director level role, looking after the European region. I spent some time in the US working with companies that were resolving warning letters, for example, and then came back to the UK and led the DePuy Synthes organisation from a quality and compliance point of view until I moved into consultancy in the last few years.
Okay, very good. And then can you share with us kind of the main triggers for remediation projects, or why do companies end up, getting into a remediation situation, or why would they have to do a remediation?
Certainly. A classic way that remediation might come around is because of an FDA warning letter, for example, where FDA have cited observations that really outline underlying issues with the quality management system, hence the need to kind of progress to a warning letter. Another reason might be because of a significant product recall, which has highlighted some systematic issues with the design control phase, potentially, or the production process control aspects of the business. And also some companies will be very proactive and identify issues within their own system that will drive the initiation of a remediation program to make sure that they get in front of any issues that might cause product safety issues, for example.
Okay, fantastic. So warning letters are generally triggered by, say, FDA enforcement or regulatory action. In other occasions, then it could be to do with recalls, possibly with design issues. And then thirdly would be around, I suppose, companies being very proactive and deciding that they need to improve, and then they kick off a remediation project themselves.
Exactly.
Super. And then why do some companies then end up kind of treating remediation as more a compliance issue rather than a business issue, or what's your experience on that?
I believe that they see the warning letter as an issue that needs to be resolved quickly, which is often the case, which is often true. But actually, I think FDA, if it's a warning letter, for example, really want the business to address the kind of root cause issues that are causing the problem in the first place. So they will often want it to be a quick resolution of the safety issue, but will allow you to take more time to address the more deep-rooted systemic issues as well.
Okay. And then in your experience then, what role does leadership play in kind of a successful remediation, or how can they do a good job?
Mm-hmm. I think sponsorship is key. A warning letter driven remediation, for example, it's not something that can be seen as just a quality issue. It is a business issue. Yeah. And therefore business leadership really needs to be visible. In order to outline that this is something that the whole business is actually going to pull together on to resolve. So, really having that sponsorship and communicating with the business on a regular basis to make sure that that's understood is key in order to make sure that the remediation is successful.
And as you said, speed is very important in terms of resolving remediation. So how do you balance that need for speed with thoroughness? So how do you ensure you do it in a good timeline, but yet do a really good job in terms of not getting into repeat remediations?
Risk management is key. Prioritization of the issues that you face when you're dealing with a remediation is definitely the way to go. So understanding which aspects of the problem statement need to be addressed immediately. So that might be product in the field, for example, it might be a design issue, okay? But then also looking at the areas of the remediation that will take longer and can take longer because the risk associated with those elements is maybe lower. And then also looking at really good definition of what the remediation will actually address. It's kind of like the job to be done. A lot of people may expect that certain things will be done when that's not the plan. So it's very important to make sure that all the stakeholders agree on what that plan is, so that when you execute and say that it's completed, there are no surprises.
Okay. So Carol, in terms of remediation, how do you balance the need for resources and then prioritization? Because that's often a challenge for most companies is, they kind of know what the work might entail, but then how do you balance out priorities and resources?
Definitely would look at like a risk ranking system, identify the things that really need the top level of focus first. Okay. Again, alignment is important to make sure that all the stakeholders are aligned with the plan. Okay. Resources are something that are limited in any organisation, but there's ways to achieve things by maybe spreading that workload out over a longer period of time. And if the stakeholders involved, i.e. the business, the regulator, for example, if there's a regulator involved, as long as you're open with what that plan looks like and get alignment, then that's a good way to kind of balance the resource plan with the risks that you're trying to address.
Okay. And then in terms, I've been involved in many remediations as you have, and then how do you feel going through a remediation strengthens quality culture, or what's your views on that?
Mm-hmm. A remediation program usually comes on top of trying to achieve what the business is really trying to do, which is innovate and get great products out to patients. So that's where the conflict comes about, I think, what I usually find is really important is to really try and demonstrate that the remediation activity is actually going to help the business do that better in the future. Okay, there are obviously problems, or there wouldn't need to be a remediation in the first place. So taking the time to do that properly, get everybody involved, so everybody is contributing, is a way to actually make sure that the whole business is improving and sees it as a positive step, rather than another thing to do, another thing to kind of handle. So that's really the secret, is get the company into a phase where they're actually investing in the future with this remediation approach, which is going to set the business up for success in the future.
Fully agree. And then a kind of final question around this is kind of like, from your experience, like what are the lessons learned from failed remediations? What are the lessons learned from successful remediations? So maybe start with the failed ones.
Yeah, we've mentioned some of the things that leadership can do, for example, by being visible and sponsoring the remediation plan. So lack of ownership is definitely something that's really going to hamper a remediation approach, because really the whole business needs to pull together and own it and actually drive very thorough resolution of the issues together. So poor ownership is definitely something that causes problems. We talked about the job to be done. In a remediation, it's very important that you scope out what you're actually going to achieve with this program. And if you don't do a good job of that, then you can get to the end of that process and find out that your expectation differs from other stakeholders' expectations, and that leads to a poor outcome, because stakeholders are not satisfied with the end result. So that's certainly something else to consider as well.
Okay, perfect. And then for successful remediations, then what do you think tips the balance for something that has a company be proud of and kind of turn a leaf? So there's numerous examples of companies who have successfully navigated remediations, and equally others where they've it's put the business under such stress that they haven't been successful.
Yeah, I think that the visibility and sponsorship of leadership is key. Really defining a good plan, a plan that really goes after the risks that you need to address. Not a plan that looks after everything. You're really looking to actually go after the key things that are going to drive the business forward, reduce the risk, allow the business to continue to function as well. Okay, and then proper follow-up as well. So you can have a situation where remediation addresses the systems, but then that needs to be tested. That needs to be really verified to make sure that the results are going to drive the business in the right direction. And obviously you need to do that before an external regulator will come in and actually test those systems as well. And I think if you do those things properly, proper leadership, a good plan with which you can resource plan properly, and then carry out very good and thorough verification of the actions taken, and what leads to a result that you can then really be certain is going to deliver for the business.
Super. So I would just like to thank Carl for his valuable insights, and thank you for your time.